Welcome back guys, we're back again with another WordPress tutorial. This time we're going to be going over how you can increase the security on your WordPress site so you can stay as secure as possible. So as we all know, WordPress can be slightly susceptible to attacks. Unfortunately, that's the way it's made. It is easier to design, but is a little bit more susceptible. So for that reason, we like to include a multitude of security plugins to actually help you in this cause. Now, I've done a few tutorials on security plugins so far. However, this one's going to be a bit more extensive. We're going to be using 2 or 3 plugins. I believe it's 3 altogether. And it's going to be protecting you from all sorts of things, creating a really strong firewall. We're going to hide the backends so people can't be logging in with /wp admin. We're going to be disabling some other features that can also make it a little bit more susceptible, and we're just going to be securing your site really well. Unfortunately, where you might be a new WordPress site, you might be new on the market, it doesn't mean that people aren't going to try and target you. In fact, quite the opposite. It means that you have probably got a little bit less security. So the reason for this video is to try and plump up everybody's security here, making it a lot harder for these people to actually gain access, because they do try many different things. I'll show you on my site currently. One of them keeps getting brute force attacks, and we've managed to fend it off quite well using these security plugins. So we're going to show you exactly what I've used in this scenario to actually keep myself protected. And before we get into this video, if you're not online already, make sure to go over to SeekaHost.com. You can grab yourself a domain. Using the new SeekaHost.app, you can start growing your PBNs, or you can just grab yourself a WordPress site. Only takes a few minutes to set up. You get free SSL security, get free email accounts, and everything like that. So I definitely recommend trying them out. So with that, let's actually get into the video. So with that, I'm going to log on onto one of my WordPress sites over here, and let's actually get into the security and what security plugins I am using, so you can download them yourself and get going. So the first one I'm going to suggest, and I have actually done a more in-depth video about this, so if you do want to go check that out, I'll leave the link in the description as well. So if we head over to security here, and we're going to find iThemes Security. This was known as the WP Security, and you're going to be able to find it by going to plugins, going ahead to add new, and then searching for iThemes Security. As you can see here, I already have mine activated, and I very much suggest doing this first, getting the iThemes Security, and then getting it all set up. Once you have got all set up, you can come over to the settings. I always suggest clicking on all here, then you're going to get all the actual settings here, and you can change so many things. Now we're just going to go over the main parts that I suggest doing to improve your security. Again, if you want to see more functions about this, just check out our more in-depth video about the iThemes Security. So first of all, of course, do security checks, because what it will do, it will show you if you have got any weaknesses. If you haven't, it will come up in ticks, and it will show you that you're doing all that you can do to keep your site safe. So let's go close that down. Of course, do regular security checks as well. I usually do mine at least once a week. Up next is going to be hide the backend, and we're going to go ahead to configure settings. Now, just so you understand what this means that they won't be able to log in or try and attempt to log into your site using the /wp-admin. So if I was to take that away and press enter, it will take me to the login page for this particular site. Now we want to not have it that easy. We don't want people just to be able to come on and try and log on as easy as that. So we're just going to go ahead and configure the back end over here. As you can see, I've just changed mine to test. Of course, this won't be the actual one that I leave on here. However, you can see what you will now need to log in. So let's say, for example, if I did leave mine as test, you would need to type HTTPS, the address, /test, and that will bring you up to your login panel. Once you've done that, just go ahead and save settings, but just do remember what the actual login slug is, otherwise you won't be able to log into your own WordPress site, and that might get a little bit annoying. Now let's go ahead to local brute force protection. This is going to be the amount of times that people are actually able to try and log in. This is especially useful if people are using some sort of bots which can just attempt hundreds and thousands of login attempts, all one after another. So as you can see here, I've changed mine to max login attempts per host to 5. You can change this to 3 if you want. I usually don't do any lower than 3, and the same amount with the max login attempts per user. This means that if they do try and log in 5 times in a row and it's incorrect, they're going to get locked out. They're going to get locked out for 120 minutes or 2 hours. This, of course, you can just change to however long you want. And up here we can see that the number of lockouts per permanent ban is 3. So if they get locked out 3 times in a row, they're going to get a permanent ban. Let's just go ahead and save these settings. Just make sure that your SSL is working. You can go over here. You can see that my site does appear to support SSL, which it does. If it doesn't, you'll get a button just to press that. It only takes a few seconds, and it just makes sure that your SSL certificate is properly working and connected. So wp-config.php, this is actually a bit of an important one, and I will be able to show you this through our brute force protection or our firewall, which has blocked many people trying to get through this way. So let's just go ahead to show details right here, and what it's going to do is going to generate this, and you can easily write it to your file by simply clicking this button right here. Now you might be thinking, well, why would I need this anyway? It's going to disable the file editor, which people can actually use to try and get entry into your site. As you can see here, by one that has been blocked by the firewall, and we will get into the firewall quite shortly, you can see they've been attempting with the wp-config.php. Of course, the firewall did detect it. However, if you also put this onto your security, you're going to have double the protection against this. File change detection, I also like to use this also. You don't have to, but I do because it will let you know. It can also email you if any file changes have been detected, especially if they're unexpected, and then it will let you know that something is going on. Somebody might have actually gained access to your site, so that's always good to have configured, I do believe. Enough of the iThemes security here. We have gone over all the major parts that you're going to need to. Of course, do check all the other settings, make sure that they're working for you. Just make sure that other things are enabled, like the 404 detection, banned users and data backups. However, I'll just go over the main points here, and this will all just keep you generally a lot more protected. Now on to the next point here, and this is another plugin that you're going to have to download. It's called the XML-RPC Security. There are many plugins like this. If we just go to plugins again, go to add new, I'll show you the one that I actually used in particular. As you can see here, we have the disable XML-RPC API. Now, if you are unsure what this is basically something that was built into WordPress to help with phone compatibility. However, it left it slightly vulnerable to people actually be able to get into your site using this. Again, I'll show you an example by going over to the WordFence and then tools again. We'll get into this in a second. However, you can actually see from the IPs trying to log on that that's actually the method that they did try to get on with, until of course I banned them. As we can see here, we can see the start there. They try to go to XML-RPC.php. And we've got a lot of these attempts. It seems to be quite standard that people will try and get onto your site using this. And it's fairly simple. Once you download it, it pretty much works straight away. If you want to go over to the settings just to make sure that they're working exactly for you, you can. On the most part, it will start doing the job straight away though. As soon as I downloaded this, all of the attacks using that particular way stopped. It will come as default that the API master switch will be off. Of course, you can switch it back on if you do want to, and they do enable the one for Jetpack here. Can disable this if you want. I tend to leave this one on. Before we move on to the third and final plugin that we're going to use today, I just want to mention again the importance of backups. If you have a good backup and something happens, you can just back up your site. It's as simple as that. You've got everything that you need to put your site back to full working order. If you don't, and it all gets messed up, you don't really have a lot of choice in the matter. So, I mean, for a free plugin that takes, maybe a few minutes, if that, to just download your WordPress site completely, just do it and make sure that you keep your files in a safe place. Next up, we're going to go to WordFence Security. If you do want a more in-depth video on this, we do have another one as well. I'll leave this in the link and you can go check out all the features to it. But this is incredible for the firewall. Like I just showed you, the examples that I've been showing you today have been on this particular site using WordFence. Now, these weren't getting blocked before. As soon as I installed WordFence, it started finding everything, every fault, every dodgy login, everything like that, and it started getting rid of them, blocking the IPs. I won't scroll down too much into the settings, but you can configure your firewalls. You can check who's actually managed to log in properly, who hasn't. Blocking and everything like that is incredible. If we go down to WordFence and then we go down to tools right over here, I'll just show you the amount of people that have tried to go onto this site, and it's been blocked, it's been detected, and they've done a great job of actually stopping it. Now, as you can just scroll down, you can see the amount of different IPs all trying to log in with different ways. So as we can see here, like I said before, we've got the XML RPC. They've been trying to log in through that way, and there's just a plethora of ways that they try to get in. Of course, WordFence, what they have done, the red dots right here are going to be blocked by the firewall, of course, for trying to do this certain action here, wp-config, funnily enough, and it gives you all the information that you're going to want to need. Of course, it will give you the option to block it. You can also run a whois, and it will give you an extremely detailed account of where this IP is coming from, any related emails and stuff like that, so you can actually see exactly who it is. You can, of course, just scroll through this list. The yellow ones are the bad login attempts, as you can see there, failed login, and you can just go ahead and block the IP. Of course, if it's a brute force attack, you are going to get quite a lot of them. However, I still like to block the IPs when I do see them anyway, just in case. You can change the login security here to enable two-factor authentication, again completely free, and I highly recommend WordFence. I know that I've done a video about it before, but really it has helped me so much on my own site, and I can imagine it's going to help a lot of other people with their firewall. And last but not least, although it's not going to be the actual plugins here, it's just going to be a bit of general common sense. If you're not using certain themes and you've got them just sat here, just go ahead and delete them. If you're not sure how to delete them, you can just go to themes over here, and you can go to delete on the right or the bottom right hand side. With them all removed, we now have our one and only theme. This will leave us a lot less susceptible to security attacks, just in case we don't update any other themes or something happens, a security breach within that theme. they manage to get through, and they manage to get through to your site and take your data. So just make sure you get rid of any other unused themes, and the same with your plugins. Again, very important that if you don't use them, you get rid of them. And now using these methods, we know that the site can be as secure as it can be. So again, if you've not got yourself online yet, make sure to check out SeekaHost. You can get yourself a WordPress site, get yourself set up within a few minutes. Obviously follow these tutorials to keep yourself safe as well, and then you can start blogging, sharing your media, or selling your products all quickly and easily. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you again on the next WordPress tutorial. Bye bye.